Okay, let's talk about the five money activities. And what are these? Well, earning, saving, investing, spending, and giving. And these are the five big things we do in our life. And if you're like most people, you're naturally good at one or two of these. And you're okay at one or two more. And you're really not that good at one or two more. And so, what I want to encourage you to do is to look at your weaknesses and maybe work on those. Okay? Some people have an earnings problem. Frankly, most Americans have an earning problem. They don't earn as much money as they would like to be earning, as they would, as the lifestyle they would like to be living. And and a lot of people too just overestimate the difficulty of doubling their income. It is not as hard as you might think it is to increase your income. Now, are there sacrifices involved? Yes, there are sacrifices involved. Look what you did to get, a physician income to start with. 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of med school, 3 to 6 years of residency or fellowship, right? It's not easy, but it's doable. And even once you're done with your training, there are things you can do that increase your income. Other doctors have done it before you. I'm always more impressed with the intra specialty pay variation than I am the inter specialty pay variation that you see on salary surveys. I've met pediatricians making $80,000 a year. I've met pediatricians making seven figures. I have met plastic surgeons that are struggling to just live, to make the payments on their rental apartment, making less than $100,000 a year. And I've met plastic surgeons that are making $2.5 million. So it's not all about specialty. It's not all about where you live. There are variations. There are doctors out there making more money than you. You ought to at least know what they're doing to do that. You may choose not to do that. You may choose not to practice that way, and that's perfectly fine. But at least know what the options are and be aware and choose where you want to set that ability to earn at. And it's something that's always worth, looking at from time to time, seeing how you can optimize your earning. Of course, once you earn the money, you've got to save some of it. My recommendation is 20% for retirement. If you want to save for other stuff, you want to save for a Tesla or a European vacation or your kids' college or whatever else, that's above and beyond the 20%. 20% is for retirement. And this is where a lot of doctors struggle. They don't struggle to earn, they struggle to save. And they get so many payments that all their money's going toward interest, and it's going toward their mortgage and the mortgage on their second home, and two or three car payments and maybe some credit cards, and they've still got student loans 15 years out of training. And they're just struggling to save money. They're spending it all, whether it's going toward payments or going toward their current lifestyle. So you've got to get good at saving. It's impossible to be a good investor if you don't have anything saved. You just need something to invest. And where that comes from, for most of us, that comes from our earnings and carving it out of our earnings. So work on becoming a better saver. Now, some of you are awesome savers, right? And you're at risk of becoming Scrooge McDuck. You're at risk of becoming the original Scrooge from Charles Dickens. And maybe you need to loosen the purse strings and spend a little bit more money. And you're already good at saving. But the truth is, most doctors aren't that good at saving. So get that retirement up to at least 20%. If you want to retire early, it's probably got to be higher than that. But 20% will get you where you need to go if you start early in your career and you don't invest like a crazy fool. 20% is enough. It's going to get you there. Okay, the next activity, investing. Okay, and frankly, investing, once you kind of figure it out, it's the easiest of these five money activities. Now, we wrote up an investment plan in 2004, 2005. We're still following it. It's not that complicated, right? Especially when you're using a handful of broadly diversified low-cost index funds. What do I invest my money in this month? Well, what does my plan say I'm going to invest in? And I go back and I can look at the plan. The plan's memorized at this point, obviously. But I can go back and look at the plan, and that's what I invest in. I don't have to think every month. Is this money going to go into Tesla stock? Is it going to go into Bitcoin? Should I be shorting the market? Should I pull all my money out? No, I just follow the plan. And a lot of people struggle with investing. It's hard to not try to time the market or pick stocks or, you get into these short-term mentalities when you realize that investing over the long run is surprisingly simple. It's just not that complicated. Stop performance chasing, stop panic selling, and just put in a little bit of time, get a plan in place. If you don't have a plan, get one. If you don't feel qualified to write it yourself, consider taking our Fire your financial advisor online course. Consider hiring a financial planner to help you draw it up. We've got a list of recommended people on the main website, but get a plan in place and become a good investor. Not that hard, surprisingly simple. Okay, the fourth money activity is spending. Now, those of you who are good savers often struggle with spending. And there are things that you can spend money on that will make you and your family, your friends happier. So see if you can figure out what those are. Go buy some of those things. Those of you who are spendthrifts, maybe what you ought to do when you're working on this category, maybe you ought to think, am I really getting the most bang for my buck out of this? Am I spending my money on the things that actually make me happier? It may be that you're just doing retail therapy, that it feels good to buy something. Well, you need to find a therapist instead of a retail therapist if that's the case. And maybe you're spending all your money on cars when what you really would be happier doing is traveling, or you're spending on traveling when what you'd be happier with is a renovated home. Just make sure you're spending your money on what actually brings you happiness and joy. Okay, the fifth money activity, assuming you've become successful at the other four, is giving. And most white coat investors that find, this website, this philosophy in the first half of their career are going to have this problem at some point. Giving refers not only to leaving money behind when you die, but to giving money to your heirs, children, nieces, nephews, friends, etc., while you're alive, as well as supporting charities while you're alive. And you'd think giving money away would be super easy. It's not. It takes work. You want to make sure your money's going as far as it can. You want to make sure you're not ruining anybody's life by giving your money. And so that takes some effort as well. And it's worth spending some time making sure you're good at giving. All right, those are the 5 money activities: earning, saving, investing, spending, and giving. Figure out which one of those you're good at, figure which one you need maybe a little bit of work on, and commit to work on that a little bit harder this week and this month.
The hosts of The White Coat Investor are not licensed accountants, attorneys, or financial advisors. This podcast is for your entertainment and information only. It should not be considered professional or personalized financial advice. You should consult the appropriate professional for specific advice relating to your situation.